it would be great if you have the following qualities, or if your character is like this. I think that the first thing that is very important would be um, your ability to observe, because it is always a very important thing to observe anything around you. And of course, it would be great that if you can read someone's face, especially your students' faces, so that you can try to find out a reason why they are like this. So the ability to observe is very important. And only if you can observe in more detail, in more details, then probably you are going to find out more. You may not get the answers in the immediate time, because there won't be any model answers. But if you try to do it and then you think about it, then probably you may find some ways to go, and then you can see which one is the better way to get into the children's heart, or the student's heart, in terms of learning or whatever. Because all in all, it is about human being. And I think that uh, learning and teaching is so interesting, because it is always interactive. It is very different from buying and selling. If you buy some vegetables in the supermarket and you just need to choose, it is just a single way. The vegetable would not say that, I don't want to be picked up by you, get away from me. Nine. The vegetable is not going to say something like this, so you can always choose your thing. It is just a single direction. For teaching and
Yeah.
learning, it is going to be very interactive. However, um, um, the interactive thing is sometimes not very efficient, because maybe some students, some children are not very good at expressing themselves. And that's why, if you want to be a professional teacher, then you probably have to take up the role to be more observative, in order to find out what the student needs. Or
Mm.
maybe you need to look for their backgrounds in order to see why they have this kind of reaction. So it was like, every time if we see some misbehavior of a student, if it is a matter of life, then probably we have to stop immediately. But if it is not a matter of life, then we need to think about different kinds of combinations of possibilities on why the students react like this, as a behavior. What is behind? Is it about his family? Is it about his own ability? Is it about his own mental ability? We need to think lots of things, and that's why you have to observe. And the second thing, and the second quality is also very important, and that is patience. To be very patient all the time, because it's like students are always young, and they sometimes cannot understand many things, and that's why you you really cannot just say it and then they understand it. Never, because sometimes even though you say it, they may know it, but it doesn't mean that they really understand it. Uh,
Mm.
in Chinese, we always talk about 知难行易, or 知易行难. Which one? Which one is the way? I would say that 知难行易, to know something, and that is very difficult. But once you understand it, it is going to be so easy. And this is why I love Word of Education, because if you tell some people, then probably you will the people will say, yes, I understand, but I understand your word only. I may understand the content, but it
Mm.
is not motivating me. It is not going to motivate me to take action. So this is the thing. But once you really understand what it means, then your action will be so quickly. And that's why sometimes you really need patience. Because my case is that last year, the whole year, I was not that ready. So um, I know that sometimes I did not do very well in the class, and my teachers are always very patient to me, and they may not punish me, or they may not ask me for a talk, but they will be very considerate to see what help or what assistance I need at the time. So it's like, you really need to be very patient, even though you see some kind of uh, misbehavior at that moment. But if the students can go through these and then suddenly they really understand right inside their heart, then they will just motivate themselves to do the things as you may have expected, but in their own motivation. We will use the word intrinsic motivation. So they are going to do it without being told anymore. They will just go for it, and it could be lasting for their whole life. So it really depends on how you see the thing, and I think that probably patience is going to be very important, because sometimes maybe the kid are not going to do things in 1 year, 2 year, or 3 years time, but you just don't know, because everyone has their own pace of growth, and maybe sometimes it take a few years before it suddenly changes. So sometimes patience is going to be very important, because maybe maybe sometimes you really want to scold him or her for something, but you really need to think about whether you are going to do this or not, or is it really helpful for him or her. Then as a teacher you are going to think of this, and that's why I would say that these two qualities are going to be very important. And of course, maybe some other thing, like you are going to be quite familiar with the subject that you are going to teach, and I think these are some very basic things, so I'm not going to mention it. But I really think that being observative and also being patient is a two very important thing to be a good teacher.